Okay, so thanks for inviting me today. And, we're very excited to be able to present some of the work we've been doing with students at NYU, in particular with Victoria Biel, who is the director of the Makerspace at NYU Tandon Engineering School. And the theme for today is really how to create a space for students to learn, experiment, and create impact. I'm faculty at NYU sitting in the engineering school, but we've also an affiliation in the business school. But today I'm really going to be talking more about the work I do as a faculty advisor to the Design Lab at NYU MakerSpace. Let me go. And so what I want to do, and I say I will do it in 10 minutes, so I should put my timer, is really very quickly the NYU Sustainability Ecosystem, and then zooming in the Design Lab at NYU MakerSpace, talk briefly about our approach, and then share a few stories of sustainability and impact, and maybe have a bit of time for Q&A, although I know we also have the breakout room, so we can always go there. And I want to say, I think most of the people who are part of this sustainability ecosystem are also joining the call today from NYU. So Victoria Biel, who is the Makerspace director. We have also Christina Lafontaine, who is the manager of the Design Lab at NYU MakerSpace. Mona Lisa Prasad, who is the director of sustainability at NYU Chartles. Tansy William, who's the director for sustainable business at NYU Stern, Diane Anderson, the director of the NYU Office of Sustainability, Angie Lara, who is the student lead for the sustainability team at the Makerspace, and Elizabeth Weisberg, who is a student at the School of Journalism, and I'll talk about a project she has on aquaponic farming. So, but very quickly, so we have, of course, an Office of Sustainability that runs NYU Green Grants that provides funding for projects around sustainability, either within NYU or outside. NYU Eats is our dining services, but have been focusing a lot on providing sustainable food, also donating, food to City Harvest. I think there was in 2019, we had like more than 9,000 pounds of food that were given to City Harvest through meal swipe donation. Then we have a number of centers. So the Center for Sustainable Business at Stern, the Entrepreneurial Institute also helps. And we have the Future Lab, which is our incubator. And there's a whole Future Lab that is focusing on urban and clean tech. And then we have students clubs. I listed a few here, Eco-Reps, Earth Matters, Sustainability Task Force, and Design for America of NYU, which is a student club that I'm advising, where we use human-centered design for social innovation. And then the Design Lab, which is the programming arm of the Makerspace. So we use design thinking we provide design thinking programming to students, as well as training on some of the machines, and organize a number of talks, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So the Makerspace is really a space, and with the pandemic, it become more of a virtual space, but it's still, I think we've always thought of the Design Lab and the Makerspace as a physical and metaphorical space. And I think that, with the pandemics, it became really more of a metaphorical space, but it didn't take away its strength, where we really try to get design, making, and technology meet to innovate with purpose. And we really, we're trying to get students to really think thoughtfully about the innovation that they're making. So it's not only about making for the sake of making. So the Makerspace itself was started in 2016. Pre-COVID, we had about 3,000 active users per year. We're based in the engineering school, but we're really open to all schools. And with COVID, we have over 800 workshops attendees. We still had some new student user, since the fall, we're kind of reopened with limitation and social distancing. And again, what is interesting is with COVID now, we have students from NYU Shanghai and Abu Dhabi joining our programming. So we kind of, expanded while being restricted. And so let me just talk quickly about our approach of like what we thought about creating a space. And, I've been working on the notion of space, and with Victoria, we have a couple of papers where we really looked at like, how do we turn the makerspace as more than just a place where you have machines and tools, but like really a space for collaboration and multidisciplinary collaboration. And so we've been thinking about it as like having like three main dimensions. Like it's about social connections. So it's about like, of course, serendipity and meeting people, but also building long-term connections. It's about learning, formal. So we're still extracurricular, but we still have like, more formal training, but also informal. So coming to the space and getting feedback, learning on the spot. And it's about collaboration. Some structured, so we have teams that comes and, works on project, but we also have teams who, or students who kind of meet people and start learning informally and having like more unstructured collaboration. And so how do we do that? I think there are really four things. Like one is, I'm used to three, but like I think it's four this time. There are tools. So of course we have the machines, whether it's 3D printer, laser cutter, etc. But it's also a framework. And so design thinking or human-centered design is really at the core of a lot of the workshops we're offering. And so the training are like really trying to provide students with the tools to start thinking about their projects. And then it's about opportunities. So we have workshops, we have talks. We've been partnering with a number of organizations, nonprofit or startups to run design jams around environmental issues and social issues. And then it's about funding. We have like mini grants, which is really up to $50. We have the prototyping fund. I'll talk about it in the next dimensions. And then we have also, beyond that, we've been working a lot with the green grants from the NYU Office of Sustainability. Play is, like showing that we have like failed prototypes that are shown. So showing people that it's okay to, not succeed all the time. We have artsy and fun workshops. And the prototyping fund is a program where we offer up to $500 to about 12 teams per semester. And compared to other projects, we really keep it very informal. And the idea is really to help students see their ideas have legs, iterate. And so that's really part of the prototyping fund versus other program that we have at NYU that are more structured or more focusing on business models. And then community. And I think that's something that we really realize, and that the literature on, makerspace in particular shows makes a difference between an effective makerspace or not. But like mentoring is really key. So there's formal mentoring, we're offering office hours, but it's also like we have both our staff and the TAs and the professional staff being around and always open to help people. We have informal events. We've also played with, arts installation to create a community. Sustainability is one of our key goal. And in the last 2 years, we had our design week really focusing on sustainability. And we have a number of project, workshop, talks, and we have even a sustainability team. So I mentioned Angie, who is the team lead for sustainability at the Makerspace. So quickly, projects. So, and I put under like the different tools or actors to try to get you there. So NYU Fridge is a community fridge. It was started by a group of students, part of Design for America. And the idea was like, how do we reduce food waste and also address food insecurity on campus? So the fridge, of course, is off since last spring, but we have a dry food shelf where we've been collecting donations, and we're working with local community fridges and bringing them food. And we're starting partnering with NYU Eats to have like donation boxes to get food from different sites on campus and then give it back to local communities. The top project on the top is the Urban Food Lab. It was starting as a collaboration, like 3 students who met in the space. So it's about like, connections. One student wanted to kind of like see how we could do urban farming. They started this project, get 2 rounds of prototyping fund, then NYU Green Grant. and convinced us to install their project within the makerspace. So it's now, we have in the basement of the makerspace an urban food lab. And they also, some of them kind of graduated and started working on a startup, We Are the New Farmers. In the bottom, it's another project also around sustainability. 3D printing produce a lot of waste. So we got a green grant from NYU Green to build a plastic shredder. So all the components of 3D printing, we can shred them. And then another student from liberal studies in another school contacted us. He had also an NYU Green Grant and was building an extruder for also 3D printing. And so he built it and just brought it. So now we have both the shredder and the extruder within the makerspace. Here are a few more projects. So facial aquaponics, you'll see that food and urban food is like a big project. So Elizabeth and Ella, who are two students, started this project, facial aquaponics. So they got they're at their second round of prototyping fund, and they're outside of New York currently, but we're working with them at the Design Lab to help them 3D print some of their parts. The Rise is another startup. So I wanted to have like current students project, and also show you that like some of them turned into startups. So Rise is a food startup that got also Green Grant money, and with whom we've been working, that is using organic food waste, in this case it's barley, to turn it into flour. And then the last part, I think it's a kind of an interesting thinking about community. Isaya Sena is a student in environmental studies in the College of Art and Science. And I met her when she joined. She's graduating this year, but I met her 4 years ago. And at that time, she was working on a farming project in the Philippines. She came to the Design Lab to get like some feedback from, we put together a small group and we kind of did mentoring with her. She worked on that project, and currently she's in California, learning remote, and she learned how to do woodwork, and she's basically building upcycled longboard with upcycled woods, and teaching her community on how to do sustainable woodworking. So that's kind of all the kind of project that we have around, and I happy to take any question. I think I'm good.